Even the people who were trying to be the lost children and quiet in the corner, those behaviors become solutions to your feelings of unworthiness because of these, small T traumas that happen to you. And I don't think that most people realize like how early on a lot of their current struggles, like how early on they've actually been struggling with them.
Hosted by me, Dr. Chiquita Mack, this podcast isn't just about conversations, it's about transformation. Each episode invites you into honest, heart-to-heart moments where women share personal journeys of healing, self-discovery, and stepping into their power. We talk about real stuff, the moments that broke us, the lessons that rebuilt us, and the beauty we found within ourselves along the way. Whether you're healing from past trauma, searching for your purpose, or learning how to love yourself again, this podcast is a safe space to feel seen, understood, and empowered. So, why should you listen? Real stories from real women, no sugarcoating, just truth. Tools and tips you can actually use to start your own healing journey. Raw conversations that remind you you are not alone. A weekly dose of inspiration to help you show up fully in every area of your life. If you're ready to stop hiding your beauty and start embracing your brilliance, hit that subscribe button now. The beauty in you is waiting to shine. Let's uncover it together. Available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Beauty in You podcast. I am super excited for this episode today. We're definitely going to get into some things we should be talking about a little bit more, that mental health, loving ourselves, trusting who we are. Our guest, Christina, is bringing all the things. So without further ado, hi, Mama, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I've been waiting for this. Since our conversation a few months ago, I've been super excited because I feel like we could have been talking forever that day.
Listen, it's my favorite thing. And I truly believe that the people that I connect with, like if we lived closer, we'd be like best friends. Like we'd be at brunch every Saturday, like, spilling the tea. So I feel the same way.
It's crazy because most of the people that I do have that connection with, y'all are on the other side of the USA. And I'm going to need y'all to come, either I'll go there or you guys come right on over here to me because what's happening.
Right. It's so true.
So let's jump into it. I want you to talk about your rediscovery journey because this is the beauty in you. And I love what you're doing now, but you didn't just always start out there. So walk me through a little bit of what your journey looks like.
Yeah. So my journey starts where I think a lot of women, late 30s, early 40s have started. I grew up in an environment that my parents didn't have tools to manage things like emotions and the emotional intelligence that I think more parents nowadays have. My mom ended up going through several tragedies, like right after each other. She lost her grandmother, her mother, and her brother all within the same, what seemed like 3 years to me. And so my mom was really struggling, obviously, with depression, some obvious trauma and grief. However, the way that I was handled as a child going through those same grievances, I actually felt very much alone in that process. I didn't get to see my grandmother before she died. I didn't get to go to the funeral. When my great-grandmother died, I was actually with her and she was watching me. So a lot of feelings of loneliness, but on top of now seeing my mother go through this grieving process in a way that was, well, I'll just use the word very toxic. So I learned very early on, I had to grow up very fast. I also had to kind of judge the room, right? Kind of walk on eggshells and perceive things and then show up in a way that would keep me safe, right? Because there was abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. And I learned that when I was dancing, because I've been dancing since I was age 3, she was happy. When I was performing, especially if other people were giving her praise about how good I was, we were good. There was no yelling. There was no, blaming me for things. However, when I was having emotions and being a child and being imperfect, that was very scary. So I learned that very quickly. And I remember being a kiddo and talking to my mom as if I was a parent, saying, Mom, I'm not yelling at you. Why are you yelling at me? And of course, that would make her mad because it was almost like she thought I was being condescending as a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
A 9-year-old doesn't even know what that means. I just was like, I'm not yelling. Like, why are you yelling at me? So fast forward into my romantic relationships. I was Joanna Gaines before she was around. Like, I had all the fixer-uppers because that was my role. My identity was to take care of people. But on top of that, I was dancing. I very much became aware of how people perceive dancers and dancers' bodies. And, I remember being around the same age, like 9, and asking my parents for that Reebok slide. I don't know if you remember what that is. It was like a piece of exercise equipment. And I got it for like Christmas. It was a piece of exercise equipment. And I was fit, like a 6-pack my whole life.
Wow.
And so I had these 2 battles, these very toxic codependent relationships and also codependency around how others perceive me. It didn't get to a place where I needed to change until much later. So I went to Arizona State, received my bachelor's in psychology, then a master's in marriage and family therapy. My professor at the time, she was working in eating disorder facility as a therapist. And I thought, wow, this sounds familiar. This sounds like not just what I've experienced, but what a lot of the girls that I grew up with in the dance world experienced. So I began to educate myself around that. Also, at the same time, I was in one of the most toxic relationships I've ever been in. I was drinking like crazy. Like, I should have died. And there was physical abuse there. And I finally got out of that relationship, got into the next one. It was not as needy, but still, I felt like his mother. And he ended up breaking up with me because I was horrible to him. And I'm a therapist at this time, everyone. I need everyone to know that.
Yeah.
And finally I said, I'm the common denominator. I'm choosing these people. I have this terrible relationship with my body. I have this terrible relationship with alcohol. We've got to figure this out. So at that time, I went on a therapeutic journey myself, but also a spiritual journey, and connecting back with God, and really just understanding the power of my thoughts and how much power I have over my thoughts. Whereas, again, I never learned that as a child. Everything felt out of control. And through that process, regained a relationship with myself. The love that I felt I needed to earn when I was a kiddo, I was able to put in myself and understand that I was worthy of that love just as is, just because I'm here. And I can give that to myself. So I'm taking all this, I'm rocking and rolling in the therapy world. But at a point, I'm like, I don't love having to diagnose people, because I felt like people tended to use that as an identity, and they felt that they didn't have control over it. And so I actually left the therapy world. I went on I did a complete 180 and went into sales. And what I loved about that was I was very good at it. However, it allowed me the time to figure things out. Like, I love, one thing I didn't mention is right around the same time I received my master's degree, I started fitness coaching classes in the group fitness environment, and then received my certifications in personal training and nutrition coaching. So I'm in the sales world and I'm thinking, I have this gift to help people. I've been trained by some of the most brilliant minds, and I can just see human behavior much differently than even a lot of therapists see it as. So how can I bring this together to help women, especially those, because the members in my group fitness classes, they would talk about their struggles with their bodies, with food, the inner critic voice that they have, but there was nowhere for them to go because they didn't meet the requirement of, say, body dysmorphia or eating disorder. And they'd need to get diagnosed in order to receive therapeutic services. That was kind of how it was going at the time. So fast forward, I created the Mindset of Matter, which is a whole health company where I like to say it's where psychology meets biology, and not just with the things that I've learned, but also my own experience. And I get to work with women all over the world in helping them, again, recreate their relationships with their bodies, food, and their worth, which to me is the most important part of things.
I think what's so interesting is how, first of all, I love what you do. And I watch your journey on Instagram and your podcast. It's awesome.
Yay!
But so many things stem from our childhood. Like when you start to do the work and start figuring out, like, why am I this way? Why do I act this way? Or when certain smells happen, I feel, though I hate using the word triggered, but triggered by that. What is it? It mostly stems from your childhood. And I remember most of all the issues I had that I had to work through came from my childhood, just not loving who I was. I'm very affectionate with my kids, but I didn't receive that as a child, like not at all. And being uncomfortable around certain people, even being in a room with a whole lot of people, I'm still uncomfortable, believe it or not. I just have to kind of push through that. But all of that stems from my childhood and how I grew up, and not really knowing what love is. Even hearing you talking about your relationships and how you went to the fixer-uppers. Well, I didn't even know what a real relationship looked like. I've seen relationships, and those relationships and my examples growing up are not healthy. I know that now, but I never knew like what it meant. What does love mean? What does a real relationship mean? What does it mean to love yourself? What is self-love? What is self-care? I've seen a lot of abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, and just pushing through, you're hurt. Okay, you push through that. You push that to the side and you just continue to go forward. And so it's just crazy, like now having my voice and talking to other women about their situations, is like so much stuff came from like those beginning years.
Absolutely. They're formative years. We are egocentric as children. So we do not realize that the adult humans around us have their own subconscious mind, their own conscious mind even. And we believe, so we think of the ego. The ego is about me, about me, about me, about me. Now children are egocentric. They think that everything that's happening is because of them, right? Whether good or bad. And trauma can happen in the big T trauma way, which can be, sexual abuse, war, natural disasters, death of a parent. But little T trauma is usually what we're talking about. It's the little like pinpoints, or what did they say? Death by 1,000 paper cuts is little T trauma. And trauma is not what happens to us. It's what we make up about ourselves, about what happens to us. And because we're so young and because we're so egocentric, we're going to make up a story about who we are. Number one, and usually it's I'm not good enough, I'm worthless, I'm not safe, I'm not deserving of love. And then number two, what we're going to make up is how we're going to survive, right? And we're going to look at the people around us who also are equally as unhealed, right? Or hurt in whatever their upbringing was. And we're going to create solutions to our unworthiness, whether that's to be perfect, whether that's one thing you said is something I also struggled with was hyper independence. I would feel something and be like, just get through it. Like, I don't ask for help. That's something I struggle with today. And hyper independence, achievement, even the people who were trying to be the lost children and quiet in the corner, those behaviors become solutions to your feelings of unworthiness because of these, small T traumas that happen to you. And I don't think that most people realize like how early on a lot of their current struggles, like how early on they've actually been struggling with them.
Yeah, it really like pushed me as a parent to be like I wanted so much to be the change. Like I did not want my kids to deal with any of that I went through. But when I look back, like I love my mom. Hi, mom. Sorry, but when I look back, when
I have to say sorry to my mom
right?
too
It's like,
often.
I'm so sorry. My bad. I ain't putting your business out there. But when I look back on how I was raised, but then I remember my grandma and I look back. Then I remember my great grandma. I'm like, whoa. Like my mom was growing so much while she was raising me and she was still trying to figure it out. And then I remember running around with my grandma and I'm like, yo, my grandma was trying to figure it out.
Absolutely. I like to say Maya Angelou has a quote, and I'm going to paraphrase. It's like, I did then what I knew then. Now that I know better, I do better. And I think that's so true for all of us, especially, I mean, we can give grace to our parents because that quote is true for them. Their behavior was probably them trying to break curses, like intergenerational curses, with one tool in their toolbox, maybe two. You know, it's almost like every generation adds a tool to the toolbox, and we need to have compassion and grace for the tools that we did receive, even if minimal. It helps us to be better each generation.
I absolutely agree. Like, it's funny because I'll mention like, Mom, remember growing up and X, Y, and Z? And she'd be like, that never happened. I'm like, yes, it did.
Same. And luckily I'm the youngest and I have older siblings. And they're like, no, that happened to you. Because I was the like brunt of it all. Mm-hmm. And I think that was because I was the truth sayer. I just watched everyone and came up with my own conclusion. Sometimes, and I'm sure you feel this way too, I'm like, how the heck did I like not survive, but almost thrive in this chaotic environment? Yes. Like, no one taught me that. I like came up with it by myself. Mm-hmm. But yes, there's a lot of amnesia when it comes to our experience versus our parents' experience.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. No, it did happen. And then my sister, so I'm the oldest, and my sister, she'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I remember this happening. And my mom's like, no, I don't remember that. My sister will think that, like, we grew up in the same household. It's always funny how that works. And our stories are completely different, right? Our situations are completely different. And so what I tell her, like in her eyes, she's like, you're the best. Like, you got everything. And, you know, you're mom and dad's favorite. And I'm like, I'm sorry, are we at the same house? Like, girl, right? No. Like, I had to literally fight for everything that I have. I had a job at, like, as soon as I turned 16, like, I had to work for everything. And in my eyes, I'm like, you're the youngest. You got everything.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like my mom and dad, you know, they started to really understand. And now they're getting more tools in their box and they're, like, trying to make the change with her. And I'm like, I done suffered over here. And then
you're welcome.
You know, and she's like, you got everything. And I'm like, how do you see that? Like, no, not at all.
Yeah. My dad, unfortunately, is very sick. He has stage 4 cancer. And my mom is his caretaker. And I have an older half sister and then an older brother. And it's interesting to watch them see what I've seen this whole time now, because the way that she interacts with my dad, it's to the point where my sister, she lives in California, so she drives out for like a week's time and she stays at their house. She needs to come here to my house and take those breaks. And it's interesting how they've begun to talk to me about my experience that I've never heard them talk before, validating my experience. Conversations where it's like, well, not you, because your experience was so different. And when they're saying that, we understand like you were hurt and that you have a totally different viewpoint. And it's really interesting to hear that now at 42. You know, my sister's 52, my brother's 47. I can't math. Yeah, 47. And it's wild to hear, but also like, where were you during that time, you know? So it's been interesting.
When you said that, where were you during that time? It kind of struck a chord because even though me and my sister's situations are different, and I do feel like, she thinks I got everything. I feel like she got everything. She did experience a little bit of something, right? And she said that to me, like, you went to college, you left me.
Oh.
And I'm like, I went to college, I'm free. I was so happy to get out. And I remember when she said that to me, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And it's so hard to have that responsibility. So sometimes I'm mom's sister. Like, I feel like her mom sometimes. And then when she needs me to be her sister, she'll say, like, I need you to be my sister right now.
Yeah.
But when you said
That's
that, I was
great
like,
communication.
ooh. Yeah. We talk, we're 7 years apart. But yeah, when you said, I was like, oh, that just reminded me when my sister said that to me.
Well, technically, you're right at the cusp of what we consider only children, even with siblings.
Yeah.
I believe it's 8 years is you're an only child.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 years is right there because you were the only child through those foundational phases of your life. And your conflict resolution was with your parents. It wasn't with your siblings and the toys and the sharing. So, that's where, especially when you have a bigger gap where there is some of that mothering versus sistering, because, and you have, like I said, your mentality is different because there was no other youth, I guess if you will, like sibling around you. It's just very different.
This podcast episode is brought to you by FemForce, the ultimate solution for entrepreneurs craving consistent professional content without the hassle. Say goodbye to content creation overwhelm and hello to streamlined process that delivers 50 to 60 stunning photos and short video clips in just 1 hour. With shoots held at Instagram-worthy locations across cities like Austin, Atlanta, Dallas, DC, Denver, Houston, Miami, Nashville, Phoenix, and Tampa, FemForce ensures you have fresh visuals to elevate your brand every month. Whether you're launching a new product, updating your website, or keeping your social media vibrant, FemForce Shoots has got you covered. Don't miss this game-changing opportunity to elevate your brand and finally get the content you deserve. I've got an exclusive code just for my listeners to get you started today. So you can stop waiting and start showing up like the boss you are. Click the link below and let FemForce Shoots bring your brand to life. Yeah, very different. I'm like, I had to be grown. You know what I was doing at 10?
Right. Listen, I had a job at 14, but I worked because it got me out of the house.
Yeah.
Like I've always worked multiple jobs. And I was in dance, like in activities at school. And it really was like the way I would avoid, and I got to make money. So that was nice.
Yeah. Buy our own things. Something you said a little bit ago was like operating in chaos. And I find that I am really good at operating in chaos.
Yep.
That's not healthy. Y'all out there, that is not healthy, okay? I'm really self-aware of that. I found if I'm in a chaotic environment, almost like, I don't want to say an abusive relationship, right? But like, I'm talking about work here. But like a chaotic environment where there's so much going on, you're like, why are you doing that? I'm moving. I'm like, ooh. But then when you sit me down and you put me in a more relaxed environment and there's no one over my shoulder and I'm able to like come as I please and do, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I like this job. I don't know if I like what what do I do with myself? Because I'm so used to pushing and thriving in that. And that does come from my childhood. That comes from learning how to survive. We talked about it a little bit before, being in that chaos and really moving. And so, the position I'm in right now is really chill. And I'll be like, I can't do this.
Yeah. A lot of women struggle with like relaxation remorse because their nervous system has always been in this like chronic fight or flight place. And they've rarely experienced the, parasympathetic where we are just chilling and resting and, not doing. I like to remind my clients because my clients are leaders in their own rights, whether that's in the medical field, legal, tech, whatever. And their hustle and grind usually comes from things that we're talking about. They've found their way out through hyper independence, through perfectionism, and that has allowed them to be in the positions they are today. However, they're exactly the same as you. They have relaxation remorse because they've never learned to just be. And I always am reminding them, you're a human being, you're not a human doing. And I like to use the example of a baby. A newborn baby, when they're born, they can, like when they come out of the womb, they can cry, they can poop and pee, they can eat and sleep. That's it. They are the most precious, worthy things you've ever seen in your life. They can't earn a paycheck. They can't score a goal. They can't dance on the stage. They can't do anything. And we think that they're so worthy. And I remind my clients, I say, that worthiness never went away. It was only until someone told you differently that it needed to be earned in some sort of way. And it hits home for them because a lot of them are mothers. And I'm like, did you expect your kiddo to, and I'll use whatever the thing is that they do, right? So did you expect your newborn baby to work 16-hour days to feel worthy? No.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, but it's a common relaxation remorse. The other thing I like to talk about is like toxic resilience, which is, the best friend to relaxation remorse, like pushing through no matter the cost because you're so fearful of not being seen as capable. Mm-hmm. And that will burn you out.
Yep. Burnout is real. Been there. Mm-hmm. I got the certificate, the plaque. What else? The jacket, the badge.
Same. I got the whole collection.
The whole thing. Like, I am good. It's crazy. So while you were talking as well, I was thinking about how I am to other people. So when I see them operating in chaos and they're like all over the place, I'm like, chill, relax. What are you doing? Don't worry about that. I got you. I'll take that from you, right? Mm-hmm. I find that I do that too sometimes, and I have to check myself too. Like, I'm really self-aware. Like, when I get to those moments, it's like, okay, girl, you can't take on everybody's stuff. But I am very aware, like, oh, no, what are you doing? Don't do that. Da, 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 da. Like, quick to do that. Very, very quick. Like, boom.
Yep, I got it. And I think that's important for listeners to hear is that even as a therapist and life coach, right, we struggle still. We have the awareness, but our struggles they don't go away. We just have, as just using this metaphor, we have more tools to manage, but we're aware.
Yeah.
And I would even say, as someone who is, 42, my body's beginning to change, my hormones are beginning to change. A lot of the struggles around my mental health have been the main symptom that I'm noticing from that. And my tools almost aren't strong enough right now, but I have enough awareness to recognize that.
Yeah.
So then I can, not fix it, but like begin to find a new way to manage it. And I think that's important for people to hear. Like, it's not that we're these perfect, emotionally intelligent people. We still struggle, but we have awareness, and awareness is the greatest gift you can give yourself.
Absolutely. I am very clear. When y'all come work with me, listen, y'all gonna get all the realness, okay? I'm here to provide you with the tools. And I use tool bag. I say, I'm here to provide you with the tools to put in your tool bag. So when something arises, you know what to pull out and how we're gonna deal with that. Healing is a circle. We are constantly healing each and every day. Mental health, that positive self-talk, positive affirmations. And I'm really big on environment. I really believe who you surround yourself with makes a difference. Listen to me. If you ask me to hang out and I say no, and you ask me again and I say no, understand that there's a reason why I'm saying no. And I'm very clear about that. Some people don't understand. They be like, why is she saying no? Because I don't I don't like who you surround yourself with.
Right.
So all those things play a huge part in yourself, in your development. And so I'm very clear, like I am always learning. I am always growing. I am always healing. I am not perfect. You know, speaking of today, y'all, I didn't even want to come. I'm be honest. I didn't want to come here today. I'm so tired. This
how
week
many
has
days
wore me out. You know?
I love what I do, but there's still days of dread because there's such a fine line, because we have to remember, what was my identity? A caretaker. What role do I have as a coach? A caretaker.
Caretaker, yes, we're still doing
it. Yeah. And so there's this like residual dread that really is from my trauma, because I have very clear boundaries with my clients. But it's almost just, like I said, residual. It really has nothing to do with today, but we still feel that. Or sometimes we're just freaking tired.
Tired, worn out. I'm like, y'all, I got one more day of the week and I'm not doing anything.
I cut my client days down to 3 days.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
And then I podcast on one day and then I do admin on the other, because I needed to do that.
Yeah. I'm like, normally my energy is pretty good, but I'm not, no, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. So yeah, it's important to know we're human. We're human, you guys. We out here living just
real
like
people.
Have
you ever met someone in person that you've worked with online and they're like, you're real? I'm like, yeah, not just this person in a box.
I always think it's so weird. Like, oh my God. I'm like, what? We the same. Like, what's going on? We are the same people.
Yep. It's true. I wanted to say something around, again, just like perimenopause, and there have been days where my emotions are so intense. It feels like I am going through puberty again. Remember those emotions?
Yeah.
But then I didn't have stressors.
Yeah.
Now I do. I have a lot of stressors now. So you compound that on top of each other. And there have been times where I have had to, if I showed up to a coaching call, I was not going to be my best self.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I do are either just really trying to get my body to calm down and just try to level out enough so that I can be the best coach I can be, or move my day around, you know? And so it's been a really interesting past couple of years. I had a hysterectomy at 35. So it kind of pushed me into early menopause or perimenopause. I kept my ovaries. But research is showing now that when you do that, it pushes you into early, like perimenopause 4 years earlier. So it's been really interesting as someone who has been relatively emotionally balanced. I think that's the best way to explain it. To have these like intense emotions out of nowhere. It's been very interesting to witness and go through.
Have you been able to communicate that, like with your partner or your husband? I mean, are you able to communicate that?
Yeah, I told him, because just one day, it was really the first day it happened. I said, I feel so off. And he's like, well, what's going on? And, you know, I have stuff with my dad. We had to put my soul dog down back in December. So sometimes I feel sad about that still. And I said, nothing. I said, I feel like I'm feeling every emotion all at the same time. And I feel like I'm buzzing. And he's great. He was like, what do you need? And then the next day, like, how are you feeling today? And being that I've consumed myself with all things around, you know, midlife and mental health changes, physical changes. And it's been nice to ask him too, like, what do you know about this? Because I want to eventually, I have a program called the Mindset of Menopause, but I want to eventually have a portion of it for partners to help educate them and help them understand what their partners are going through. But yes, he's been very helpful in that. Sunday it happened and I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to tell him all the things he's doing wrong. But again, the awareness in my brain was like, he didn't do anything to you. He hasn't done anything to you.
Yeah.
You're just feeling all the feels and you want to take it out on someone. So while I was still a bit short with him on Sunday, what I wasn't was criticizing him or putting him down. Kind of had to sit on my hands until that like intense feeling passed. So he's there.
I love it.
Trying not to
he's
push him away.
Yeah. Don't you do it. You know what you're doing.
I know. It's still hard, right?
No, it is. That happened to me this week, just emotion-wise, because like I said, it's been a rough week for me. We just have a lot of things going on, and my husband's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Nothing."
Of course.
Like, okay, we're going to try this one more time, like what's wrong? And I was just like, everything. I just feel like good and bad. Like, I feel like I have a lot going on, at work, and then, with the house repairs, but then there's great things happening in the Chiquita Mack, and we have that going on, and photo shoots and this, and it's like everything good and bad is all mixing into one, and then I'm like happy and sad and tired and aggravated and being an Uber driver for the kids. Like, it's just so much all in one time. And he was just like, okay, I'm going to take this off your plate. I'm going to take this off your plate. And I was just like, okay, but listen, I'm like, I am over it. I'm over, but I had to learn, I am happy. It's like, they're not supposed to be mind readers, right? Because we expect them to be, I'm just going to be honest. But I know that they're not supposed to be mind readers. And I am happy that he asked me again, because, that's one of the things I do have to work on is, what's wrong? Nothing. Okay, girl, something's wrong. My tone of nothing is telling you something's wrong. So I'm happy he was like, what?
That's great. That comes back to childhood, though, if you think about it. If, like I talked about, like when I was having emotions, something was wrong, I was met with bigger emotions and blaming me for why those emotions were happening. So it was, again, if we just say nothing, because we're afraid to express ourselves because we've had not the best experience with expressing ourselves.
Yep.
So I get it. It's so hard, girl. I mean, the hyper independence, I have wanted to, even text, not even call, text my best friends and be like, look, this is what's going on. Like, I need some help. And I will write the text out, and then I will talk myself out of sending that text. They're too busy. You don't need to put this on them. They don't want to hear it. And I won't send it. It's the thing I'm still working on.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like such a pattern person. I think I told you this the last time we talked. I'm such a pattern person. So if you call me, I don't answer right away. I will at least text you like, I got your call, I will get to you, blah, blah, blah. It's when I don't do that, the ones that know will be like, oh, nah, girl, what is going on? You did not text, no emoji, no nothing. What's happening, and then I'm on my way. And so I am thankful for those two individuals that know me to that level, because I have the same thing. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, let me tell you my whole life issues when I know you have, because I already know they life issues.
Right. Well, because most of those people are coming to us for help.
Yeah. And so it's like, well, let me not tell you that, right? So I am thankful for those individuals. But yeah, I suffer with the same thing of just like the asking for the help and like being the first one to say like, I need help for this. With the kids, though, I'm easy. Like, I cannot pick them up. Can you go get them? Blah, blah, blah. It's fine. Anything else of that nature is fine. Help with the house, whatever. But it's when it's for me personally that I have a little bit harder time with voicing. Yeah. So, girl, I understand.
It's hard. Yeah. Well, and when we talked, my friend Camilla, she's the one who, hey, I'm coming to the hospital. We're going to go to lunch. Like, you don't get to answer. This isn't a question. This is a demand. And she'll show up. I was going to say something. I lost my train of thought, but no, she's wonderful. And you have, and I think that goes back to even as we get older, when we were younger, we had like quantity of friends. Now it's quality of friends, and knowing that people are going to stand up for you when you're not in in rooms, who's going to be there for you to understand, your flaws. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Camilla is also, has a similar not a similar upbringing, but has a lot of the similar like people pleasing and caretaking. All that. So we almost like trauma bond together, but in a way that actually helps each other. It's great. It's great. But no, and just having those quality friends now is so important.
Yeah. My circle's super small. It's very, very small on purpose, by design. Okay. I do not want a whole bunch of people in my face.
Right. Do you find that as you mature and get older, like even emotionally, that some friends just like fizzled out, like even really strong relationships fizzled out? Because that's happened to me, and I see it as growth, even though it's sad.
Yes, I think the last 3 years, a lot of people that I thought would be here on my journey, people that I'm like, okay, this is where I want to take the brand. I want to do, this is like, when I'm here and here, I thought they were literally like be right here with me right now. And they're no longer with me. I mean, like cut me off cold completely.
Yeah. Same.
And, but I had to realize like I can go to sleep at night knowing that I personally did not do anything to you. And sometimes when you are healed or becoming healed, they don't want to rock with you too much, and that's cool. So
they like your unhealed self because it's probably
it's a lot easier to, let's talk about this, this, and this. But then when you get to the point where it's like, I'm not trying to hear that, positive affirmations, you need to do this too. They're not trying to do all that. And so I've learned that those that are supposed to be around me, those are meant to be with me on my journey, are with me on my journey. I've grown, and I have, when I look back, especially if I do the whole 10 years, Lord Jesus. But even looking at those 3 years, I've grown so much as a person. I've grown so much as Chiquita. I've grown so much as Dr. Chiquita Mack. Like I've grown so much as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter that
Absolutely.
I don't even think we have anything to talk. Like if you called me today and was like, girl, I am so sorry. That's cool. I accept your apology, but we honestly don't even have nothing to talk about at this point. It's just so different. So I have experienced it. I've learned to embrace it. Yes, it does get sad sometimes. I'm not going to lie when I do think about it. But those that are meant to be in my corner are in my corner.
Yeah. No, same thing has happened. I found that, as I began to mature, a lot of my friends were my like party friends. And I thought they were my best friends. And without like alcohol involved, because there's such an alcohol culture. And as I said, I had a really bad relationship with it. I'm actually now like, I barely even drink. It felt like once I made that, not even the switch to not drink, but just becoming that person, that those friends that I would call my best friends, they blamed it on me. One of them did. Oh, you make everything about yourself. And, having that awareness, I'm thinking back and I'm like, where could I, when could she have experienced that, this, that, the other thing. And finally, I just had to say to myself, like, you're never going to understand her perception of you. You have, like you said, like, I know that when I'm showing up for these people, I'm trying to show up, to make their experiences great, to have fun, to connect, to enjoy our time together. If your perception of that is whatever it is, like I can't change that because it was eating at me. Like, what did I do? Because again, I'm upbringing. Like, obviously I'm in trouble. Obviously I did something wrong because that's my like default. And I was like, no one gets to withhold love from you, even if you did make a mistake. No one gets to do that to you anymore. You had a parent do that for your whole life, and I was like, I'm done, and I've just been done.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us.
Thank you. I am proud of us too.
We doing it.
We are, and now we get to meet each other. Right?
I know. Either I'm coming there, or you're coming here. We'll figure it out.
Let's do it. I love it.
Ben, you've been absolutely great today. And I want to thank you so, so much for being a part of the Beauty in You podcast.
Thank you. This is wonderful. Like you said, it's like, I feel like I've known you for my whole life.
I know. I'm like, we could literally talk forever. Seriously.
Correct.
Can you let the audience know where they can find and connect with you?
Yes. So Instagram, it's Mindset of Matter Coaching. Everywhere else, it's at the Mindset of Matter, including YouTube and TikTok. I also have a podcast, if you want to add one into the queue, the Mindset Mirror Connection, which focuses on mental health as well as physical health and how both play into each other. And that's anywhere you find your podcasts.
Yes. I will link all the things in the show notes so they can connect with you.
Love it. Thank you.
All right, you guys. Until next time.